Moving on. So I am Cheryl Coleman with Keller Williams Realty, and just wanted to thank everybody for coming. On my team, Mercedes French has joined us, and she is the best buyer's agent you ever meet. That girl is working night and day. And Gina, I don't think Gina's joined us yet, but another great agent on my team. And if you want to know how the market is, it's hot, hot, hot. It's hotter than a frying pan full of grease. I mean, this market is crazy. Homes are flying off the market. The prices are ridiculous, and there's just not enough homes. So if you know anybody that's even thinking about selling, please let us know, because I think they would get more than they would ever dream of. It's like if you're sitting on a lottery ticket right now. And for buyers, there's just, I listed 2 homes last week. Both of them had over 20 offers and sold way above asking price. So if it looks good and it's advertised well and priced right, it's going to sell, and it's going to sell over asking. And we just have a lot of different things we need to do because of COVID, but we've got our routine down and follow the rules and keep everybody safe. So keep that in mind if you know anybody selling, so we can get all these poor buyers a home. And Rick will tell you interest rates are, I mean, money's free. That's why everybody's buying. So no one cares about the prices. It's when you can get free money, buy. You know? So that's why, that's, you know, a big reason why this is happening. But also because of COVID, because some people have found from working at home that that's not going to change. They need a bigger house, they need an office, they need a place for the kids. And then we have families moving in together as well. But the one thing that hasn't changed is they're aging in place. Seniors aren't leaving the homes in their 65s and 70s anymore. This year or last year, I had several clients in their 80s and 90s that were finally leaving the family home. So that's really the biggest reason why we're just so short of inventory. So that's what's going on in the market. And Mike Posey is here to tell us about Huntington Beach, our favorite town. And I think everybody on here probably lives or works in Huntington. So Mike, let us know what's going on in Huntington Beach. Take it away.
Well, I'll give you just the cliff notes of this week's city council meeting. We had the mayor's award for Catherine Lukehart, and I don't know if anybody knows who Catherine Lukehart is, but she heads up our homeless task force from the social work side. And she has done an amazing job in the 4 or 5 years that she's been here. And she's leaving the city, sadly, but she made a big impact on the homeless task force. She's made a big impact on really addressing homelessness from the social work standpoint, liaising with police, and then finally with the navigation center. So we're going to miss Catherine Lukehart, kind of an unsung hero, because she sort of operated in the background but did amazing work. So we're going to miss out on her. And then on a couple of the big things we voted to extend the closure of the second block of Main Street. So there's been discussion about reopening Main Street for traffic, keeping it closed for traffic. And my position that I stated at council was, let's keep it closed until the restaurants have 100% indoor dining capacity, because right now they only have 25%. We also worked and was successful getting the hours extended. So, you know, while you're thinking about selling your home, or while you're negotiating your best deal with your agent, do that over lunch or dinner on Main Street, or any restaurant in Huntington Beach for that matter. But Main Street's going to stay closed for a while, at least through Labor Day. We approved a new project, a small one on a vacant lot next door to the 7-Eleven on PCH, which is 714 Pacific Coast Highway. It's a vacant lot right now. It's going to be a 12,000 square foot building, 3 stories, 3,000 square foot condo on the second floor, and 2 1,800 square foot condos on the third floor. Or no, I take that back, vice versa. 3,000 square foot condo on the top floor, 2 1,800 square foot condos on the middle floor, and then a 700 and some change square foot coffee shop on the ground floor facing PCH with garage, and then subterranean garage too. So that got approved. That was kind of exciting. That was a long discussion. Budget was approved. Well, budget adjustments were approved. I won't get into the boring details on that. But going into continuing on the theme of homelessness, we did also approve an ordinance to allow the police to ticket or flag for removal abandoned personal property on public property. So what we want to do with the navigation center is really maximize its usefulness and get those homeless persons that need services and support offered by the navigation center to the navigation center and not camp on our public property. So we did pass that on Tuesday night. So we'll see a little bit more concerted effort on that. What also is, I think, particularly interesting to realtors and to the business community, who I know most of you, is RHNA, and I know we've spoken about that before, which is a regional housing needs allocation. And that is the number of units of housing that we're supposed to zone for as calculated and directed to us by Housing and Community Development in Sacramento and SCAG, which is the Southern California Association of Governments, the Regional Planning Association. And our number is 13,300 units of housing that we have to zone for over this next 8-year cycle. Going through the appeals process, we lost every request. We had 5 different causes of action for the appeals. We didn't win a single one. So our number was 13,300 going into the meeting on Tuesday. But some other municipalities were able to appeal a grand total of 3,000 units, which those 3,000 units don't go away. They just go someplace else. And some of that someplace else was Huntington Beach. So we ended up getting 31 more units into our 13,300 and something housing units. So how are we going to get there? I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if the market will absorb that number of units, but we do have to zone for it. So we've contracted with a consultant that will be looking at the Beach Edinger Quarter specific plan, maybe along Warner Avenue for intensity and density increase, among other places, to at least have the zoning in place. So that's, I guess, that's news for Huntington Beach. Part of what's going to we'll have to all be conscious of too, is Governor Newsom's budget. I might have mentioned it at the last meeting to you guys, but Governor Newsom has his housing accountability department that he wants to add. It's a $4.3 million budget add, which will be about 20 people working at HCD, or Housing and Community Development, who will have one task. And that task is to monitor city council meetings, planning commission meetings, and board of supervisors meetings, to follow through to make sure that housing related and zoning related votes lead to the production of more housing. So we have an acute housing crisis. That's evidenced, of course, by the multiple offers and the limited inventory. And we have more buyers and more renters than we have units. And by any measure, it's 1.3 million units in Southern California or less. It's a fungible number and it's a debatable number. But we have more jobs than we have housing. Retirees retiring in place that you mentioned, Cheryl. That's an interesting dynamic, as I mentioned that probably 4 or 5 years ago when we started this debate in Huntington Beach about housing, that as retirees retire in place and they stay in place, which I plan to do, they vacate the job that they held, and somebody's got to take the job that they retired from, but they got to live someplace, but they can't live in a house that the retiree had because they're still there. So not only are we creating jobs, but we're having jobs being vacated by retirees who retire in place, which exacerbates the housing problem. So with respect to RHNA, Getting back to that, the number is high. It's probably too high. I think many people think it is too high. And I have some ideas about how we can take a look at that. It's a legislative fix, not with litigation, but with legislation. So we have to lobby our state legislators on either a short arena cycle or a mid-cycle adjustment. So and that's about all I got.
Process.
And then there's Olympic trial surfing competition coming in. As soon as I get the info, I'll email it to you, Cheryl. You can pass it on to your group, okay? So that'll be our first, and I'm really excited. And I think it's a week from this weekend, but it's Olympic trials. It's outdoors. It's on the beach. It's surfing. It's an event, and we haven't seen one in a long time. So hopefully this will be the kickoff of the surfing event season with this one. So that's probably the best news.
Something to do.
Something to do and something to see and a reason to go to the beach.
Yeah.
And if you want me to hang around, I've got time for a couple of questions or whatever you want. So
Yeah. Anybody got a question for Mike? You can unmute yourselves if you do.
Mike, I had just a thought about what you were just talking about. We have more jobs than we have space for people to live. We have people retiring in place, which is a wonderful thing. That means seniors are staying in this area. And we have more jobs. I think that's a wonderful thing. So the problem we have is housing. But compared to not having jobs and maybe having more housing, you got people. It seems like as bad as a problem it is, it's of the three, it's probably the best problem to have. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. It's a good problem to have, but it's not a sustainable problem to have, because what you end up with is what we're seeing, especially in places like San Francisco and New York City. You're seeing the brain trust move out to the suburbs and farther out because they can telecommute and work from home, at least for now. And what will happen soon thereafter is that the employers will follow the employees. So, you know, who said that? Ross Perot said that, you hear that great big sucking sound? That's all the jobs going to Mexico. Well, that great big sucking sound we're going to hear is all those jobs going out to Beaumont. We don't want that. We want that next generation of blue collar, white collar workers that spend money, that go to our restaurants, that go to the Beach Boulevard of Cars, buy houses from you guys, get mortgages from Rick, get business consulting from Jerry, and volunteer at the city like Linda and everybody else does. We want them hanging around. And so we don't want those jobs to follow the employees. We want the jobs to stay here. And in order for the jobs to stay here, we have to address the housing so that we attract that next generation to fill the jobs vacated by our generation, as well as fill the new jobs that we don't even know what's coming as far as new jobs. So, you know, like who was that said in 1780 something, let's close the patent office because everything that's going to be invented has already been invented. We don't know what's going to be invented. So, and then if you look at, you know, where do we build in, you know, let's take Huntington Beach, for example, because that's where we are. Huntington Beach, by and large, is a built out city. But buildings have a life cycle. They depreciate. And I think probably the fastest depreciating asset is 1960s and 1970s era strip malls that don't have the retail tenants anymore. They don't have the retail tenants that generate the sales tax anymore. And those sites are really prime for rezoning. And that's what happened in 2010 with the Beachhead Interquarter Specific Plan. So we have a zoning overlay in place. We have room right now and environmental work done for up to 4,000 units on Beach Boulevard. So we're kind of a third of the way there on paper. And I think there's more room. There is a report, if anybody wants it, it's the infill refill opportunities And specifically, it was done by SCAG, and they profiled 4 cities. Huntington Beach was one of them, and they targeted the mid-block retail sites. And looking at that, they found about 6,000 parcels, which is about 2,000 acres of underperforming retail that could be rezoned for residential or mixed-use residential. And if you were to say, okay, our high density zoning is 35 units an acre times 2,000 acres is a theoretical 70,000 units. But with density bonus, you can go 52 times 2,000 is 104,000 units. We only need 13,000. So clearly it's not going to be rezoned everything and everything redeveloped. That's not going to happen. It's just the market's not there. I don't think the appetite is there. But we can look at specific sites and maybe get part of the way there. So, and save those jobs. I mean, you talked about jobs, Boeing, we lost 1,500 jobs at Boeing, but what is going to replace that is 1 million square feet of Class A industrial space that could be home to 5,000 to 10,000 new jobs. So you're going to see replacement jobs and a multiplier effect of replacement jobs on that same piece of real estate. So that's some good news too. So anyone else? That's it. All right.
Thank you so much, Mike, for giving us that update every month. We really, really appreciate it.
My pleasure. And if anybody has anything they want to talk about specifically, email me, and I'll try to keep it as interesting as possible and business and real estate related as possible too.
Yeah, guys, if there's anything specific, Huntington Beach, that you want to know about, just let Mike or let me know, and I'll let him know. So
thank you.